Today, I am joined by the amazing and inspiring Riana Nelson. Riana is a singer, motivational coach, and teacher. She holds a BFA degree in musical theater from the University of Michigan. She has worked with Disney, 20th Century Fox in Hollywood, and even US embassies in countries like Ukraine, Moldova, and Albania as a United States cultural ambassador. Do I have your permission to post this episode of The Inspiration Show on social media?
Yes, you do.
Thank you. So, if you had to choose three key milestones along your very successful journey, which milestones would they be?
I would choose first working for Disney. That was such an incredible experience. And living in Beijing, China, working for the Walt Disney Company was such a unique experience and gave me so much courage to believe in myself and to trust that, you know, even though you don't know how things are going to turn out sometimes, it can always be a positive if you choose to see it that way. So that's number one. The second big milestone I would say is starting the independent tour with my two brothers, Derek and Dalton. We started something called the Take Chances Tour in 2013, and it was an independent tour that I managed and booked. And that project was basically the foundation for my professional touring career with my two brothers. So that was a huge milestone. Not for the faint of heart to try to book and do all of that all basically, independently. And then the third milestone, I would say a year ago, I left my apartment. I put everything in storage. I packed up my car with what I could fit, and I started house sitting and renting from a friend in Laguna Beach and Santa Monica, and completely just transformed my whole life. After the pandemic happened and we realized we weren't going to be touring, at least for now, it was a huge interruption in my career, my life, my family, working with my two brothers full time to not. And it was a really big growth experience for me personally, professionally, in my relationships. And it was a really, really powerful experience. So big transition.
Yes, I find throughout the pandemic, we've had lots of different transitions that we would have never seen coming. And you have
Exactly.
been through so many inspiring milestones, and it was so great to hear about them.
Oh, thank you.
So, as you mentioned, you are a touring singer who has performed all around the world. When did you develop a passion for singing?
I was young. I was maybe 8 or 9 years old, and I started taking singing lessons and doing musicals in my hometown of Olympia, Washington. And it was really through just doing those musicals and joining choir and singing with friends, and then in college, joining an a cappella group and really figuring out what my voice was like and what it sounded like. And my first professional job right out of school, my very first job out of school was singing as a lead singer on a cruise ship. I don't know if you knew that, but it was so much fun, so challenging, and really set the tone for how I wanted to sing as myself because I felt like there's a lot of pressure in musical theater to sound a certain way. So I've actually had multiple iterations of my passion for singing come forward. Like one as a musical theater singer and a cruise ship singer. The next was recording my album, More Like Me, which was really about singing and feeling more like myself. And then singing with my family and doing that professionally as a trio, a sibling trio.
Wow, I love how one passion for singing branched out into so many different things, such as singing with your brothers and
Yeah.
recording your album and singing on cruise ships. It's amazing how it can become so many different things, all from this one passion.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to look a certain way. That's another really big takeaway. It doesn't have to be the initial dream that you had in order for you to feel fulfilled doing it.
Definitely. What inspired you to become a singer?
What inspired me to become a singer? Well, one of the things that I've always loved, and that again, it goes into these passions merging together is being around my family. My family is super important to me, and especially my two brothers. We've always gotten along, and Derek and I are we're just 21 months apart, so we're really close in age and also in personality, and we have always had this like twin-like sibling relationship. And so when he was like, I want to do this tour, I want to like take everything that I've learned working on Glee and touring with my college band, and I want to do it as a family. I was like all in. I was kind of in the middle of transitioning things myself. And I thought, why not just take this job to tour management? So I was like the back end tour liaison person for our trio and the lead singer for our group.
Wow, I'm so inspired by you and your family, and I just admire everything that you've done together and how you all get to share your passions with each other and with the world. I feel so inspired.
Thanks, Allison. That's so sweet. Thank you.
Out of all of the amazing places that you have performed in, what would be your top three and why?
Ooh, okay. First up, that first thing that comes to mind is in front of almost 70,000 people in CenturyLink Field, which is now it's called something different, but it's where the Seattle Seahawks play their NFL games. And we got to sing, it's about 4 or 5 years ago, in front of 70,000 people. And it was unlike any experience I've ever had in my whole life. Like the energy of that, standing in the middle of all of those eyeballs was unlike anything I can ever compare it to. Another moment that really stands out, multiple moments, was a winter concert series that we did every single year at my parents' house. So we would invite like 100 of our closest friends, push out all the furniture, and just bring everybody super tight and cozy with wine and snacks. And we would do this concert just at home. And we did it every year between like Christmas and New Year's for 13 years. We had a tradition of doing that, which was so cool. And amazing memories because my parents, sadly, they're no longer in that house specifically. And so it's just like extra nostalgic and special that we got to have that kind of memory there. Let's see. Third one, gosh, I'd have to say some of our moments singing abroad. Um, we got to tour Moldova and Albania and Ukraine, and some of those venues there, these historic, beautiful, old proscenium stages in these concert halls were so cool and historic and old. You know, you feel like, whoa, this is cool. It's everything's in a different language, everyone's speaking different languages, and it just was such an incredible experience to have that with my family too.
Yeah, and to see all those different places, like you mentioned, all around the world, and to hear everyone speaking
Mhm.
their own native language, I think that it's so amazing that music can bring so many people together, no matter where they're from.
Exactly. I believe it's a universal language for a reason, and I believe it can heal any divide. I really do.
100%. So, alongside from being an amazing singer, you are a motivational coach. You've been
Yes.
very open about your struggles with anxiety and depression, and you've spoken
Mhm.
about your experience at many speaking events. Why did you decide to become a motivational coach and to share your experience with the world?
Well, I think I went through so many periods of my life, especially in my late teens and early 20s, where I didn't feel very confident and I was struggling with depression and was on pharmaceutical medication and just didn't really know what my options were for building a better, I'll call it like a toolbox, like a mental health toolbox. So I was anxious a lot. My self-esteem was not good. I was in a very competitive program in college. So spent a lot of time just trying to put on the mask, so to speak, the figurative like shell of what I thought I was supposed to be doing and not living in my authentic skin. And that's very exhausting to do. If you've ever been in a situation where you feel like you have to be somebody else in order to fit in, that doesn't really work for very long. So I had a lot of, I guess, just a lot of growth. I'll call them like spiritual and personal growth spurts through that process. And there were so many points along the way that I was like, I wish I would have had somebody like a big sister, or because I'm the oldest and I don't have a sister. And I wish I would have had like a big sister or somebody to really walk me through like some tips and help and guidance and mentoring for how to deal with things like peer pressure or bullying, or even just like not feeling confident in your own skin, and how to really tap into that inner wisdom and intuition. So, as a coach, I'm helping my clients get more grounded, become more calm, seek out more opportunities to feel confident, and then build their creativity on top of that foundation.
You have become that big sister to so many people, and through that, you lead and teach virtually through Big Sis coaching sessions and send ongoing weekly Friday love letters as written emotional
Yep.
support for people of all ages. Can you share with us about your teachings and the meaning behind Friday weekly love letters?
Yeah. So my Friday love letters, which are now sort of like love letters, sometimes I send them Friday or Sunday or whatever over the weekend, but every single week I send a love letter over email. And I started this about 2 years ago, as soon as the pandemic hit, as a way to offer support and emotional guidance for people, because I knew that the isolation and the lockdowns was really going to start affecting people psychologically, I guess. Intuitively, I felt like maybe people wanted some additional support no matter how old they were. So it started as like me as your big sis, but now I have readers from all over the world, different ages, races, countries, everything. It's for everybody. And it's basically just a way that I can write down my thoughts inspirationally and send them out in, email form. So it's been really, really fun to write those. And sometimes I share, what I'm excited about, the things that are motivating me. Sometimes I share tips and tricks for things like reducing anxiety, wellness, cooking. Sometimes it's poetry. I also write a lot of poetry. And sometimes it's just, a little quick blurb of like a mantra or affirmation to keep in your back pocket.
Wow, it's so amazing and so motivational and inspiring.
Thank you. Thank you. They're really fun. I love writing the love letters and, just having this little like community. I get a lot of engagement. People write back to me all the time. I read every single love letter reply. So that's really fun too.
That must be so sweet and so amazing for you to see how you're being an amazing impact on people.
Oh, thank you, Allison. Yeah, it is cool. It's fun.
So, what inspired the idea behind the weekly love letters?
Well, like I said, just really coming into the pandemic, no one really knew what the heck was going on and how long it was going to be and to what extent things were going to snowball. And I just knew like whether it was for a week or a month or a year, whatever the case might be, I wanted to use that as a way to inspire people.
That's amazing. You also started a private community group, Create Your Own Calm, where you lead journal prompts, mindfulness, and group coaching sessions. Can you share with us a little bit about Create Your Own Calm and the mission behind it?
Yeah, so it was basically for the first year of the pandemic, I was doing guided meditations on video every single week. You could hop on live and I would lead people through like a 10 to 15-minute guided meditation where you could just sit and listen and close your eyes. And then afterwards, I would take questions and people could share like, what they were feeling or something that good that happened to them, and just kind of unite the community once again for mental health. And I believe meditation is a super powerful practice that anybody can do. Like everybody has at least 5 minutes a day. They can just sit and breathe and focus on their breath. And it's amazing what that practice can do. But it's also very intimidating to start, especially in like the whirlwind of the world. So I just wanted to bring like an intro way for people to just take a second out of their day and calm themselves and create their own calm. So that was the whole mission behind create your own calm on Facebook. But now I've integrated that a lot into my coaching, and teaching people how to create your own calm is something I'm really passionate about, because it is something you create yourself. It's not something that's just given to you, or someone says like, oh, here's the guidebook on how to be calm. It's something that I feel takes a lot of internal intuition and empowerment. And so my role as a coach is to really create the conditions for people to feel like they can tap into that intuition, be vulnerable and authentic to themselves. And then from that point, build in the steps to have more calm in their life and not so much chaos.
Wow. And I definitely think that being calm can mean different things to many people. So having you
Mm-hmm.
guide them into having their own freedom to really create their own calm is really amazing.
Yeah, and it's empowering too, like imagine where you have, imagine coming into a year like the pandemic, but then all of a sudden having these tools and resources and um, self-powered tips for how you yourself put together a protocol to navigate all of that.
Definitely. You also hold a BFA degree in musical theater from the
Mhm.
University of Michigan. Can you share with us when you developed a passion for musical theater?
Yeah, I was in high school doing all of the shows and in drama and plays and musicals, and I just knew I loved to sing most of all. I wasn't the best dancer, but I was like, I can learn, I can get better, and I applied to the University of Michigan's program, which is consistently one of the top BFA musical theater programs in the country. And I got in, and they only accept a handful of women and men every single year. And just knowing that I got in, I was like, I gotta go. And my parents were like, we gotta help you go. So I feel very fortunate and very privileged and lucky that I have a family that was so willing to help see my dreams come true by going to that school, and specifically that program. And having a Bachelor of Fine Arts is something that I think enables you to do a lot of different creative things in the world. And, um, now obviously I'm not performing on Broadway, which that program is really geared for, but I've had the opportunity to accomplish so many dreams just by having that as a door opener and a training program. And the discipline required to do that kind of program is definitely rigorous. So, training for long tours, training to have the stamina to do like 3 shows a day on a cruise ship, stuff like that. It's been a very, very good foundation in my life.
And all of that amazing training led you to be the female vocalist in your sibling trio, Derek Nelson and Family, with
Yeah.
your brothers, Derek and Dalton. What was that experience like getting to tour with your brothers?
Oh, it was so fun, Allison. We had the best time. It was definitely rigorous, like I mentioned, because we would do, 6 to 8 week tours at a time. And we traveled by car. So it was all four of us. My mom would come with as the merchandise sales lady. So it was my brother, my two brothers, and then me and my mom. And we would go play shows for anywhere from like 300 to 2,000 people a night in mostly smaller towns, and provide arts, culture, and entertainment in the form of our independent touring show under Derek Nelson and Family. So the fact that we got to do that as our full-time job for, let's see, we started Take Chances in 2013, and then 2020 was when we did our last tour. So for 7 years, that was primarily my full-time income. And I think it's a lot of people's dream to quote unquote make it as a musician. And we were able to build the structure in order to do that. And then, especially as a family, it was just dreams come true.
I was gonna say it's so special to do it in one hand, but on the other, getting to do it with your family just makes it so much more special.
Yeah, especially now, like things have really shifted in the world. And, we're not going back. So to have those special memories and, definitely some harder nights, like you can imagine that after a long day of traveling 500 miles in the car and doing a show, it's late and there's nothing open. It's like everyone's hungry and bickering with each other, but that's siblings, that's family.
Yeah, Derek said the same thing a couple nights ago.
Did he really?
Walmart.
Yeah, you were like rolling in with the trailer to the Walmart parking lot and be like, everybody out, like go get a snack and come back. So yeah, it was fun. Honestly, like to travel, I think we did, I don't even know, Allison, like 80,000 miles in the car together, like from the Pacific Ocean to the Atlantic Ocean to the Great Lakes to the Gulf of Mexico, all in one tour with our SUV and equipment trailing
That's
behind us.
crazy. How long was about like one tour?
Like usually 6 to 8 weeks at a time, we'd be away from home, and you just have like one suitcase, and that's it. It was pretty wild.
That's crazy.
Hmm. Yeah.
You have been an inspiration to so many people, including myself, but who has been someone who has inspired you?
Oh my goodness. Honestly, my two brothers inspire me a lot. I think they're both just the kindest, most upstanding human beings. Like they really have so much dynamic personality and they're so goofy and funny in their own way. Like we just have like such a awesome sibling bond that in person, it's this magic little chemistry together. And, I would do anything for them. And so they really inspire me a lot to just be myself and not be afraid to be myself. And um, musically, I think Derek's songwriting is what the world needs this time. He's always written about the transitions of life and the seasons of life. Even from a young age, he was a wise soul and has received so many different types of songwriting awards. And his songs that really mean the most to me are about the specialness of the present moment. And I think we can all relate to how nostalgia can really impact your life moving forward. And those songs that mean a lot to us are sometimes the ones that bring up those little nostalgic memories too.
You and your family have inspired me so much, and it is such an honor to know you all. You never fail to put a smile on my face.
Oh, thank you. That is so sweet to say.
Thank you so much, Rihanna, for joining me on the Inspiration Show today. It was an absolute honor and an amazing experience to get to speak with you, and thank you for inspiring me.
You're welcome. I have a question for you before we go.
Of course.
So, what was your inspiration for creating this show, and how did you come up with this interview format?
Good questions. Derek actually asked the first one after our interview as well.
No way. I promise we did not collaborate on this at all.
So, one of the main inspirations behind the Inspiration Show was a story of an also musician named Zach Sobiak. He was diagnosed with osteosarcoma and was only given a few months to live. So he wrote a song called Clouds as his goodbye to his family and his friends and the world. And he has a movie that was based on his life called Clouds on Disney Plus. And when I watched it, it really sat different. Like I realized that it wasn't just a movie, it was the story of someone's life. Yeah. And I was just so inspired by it and how he took his time to leave a legacy behind. And I was just so inspired. So I came to my family with the idea for the Inspiration Show and kind of the outlook and the mission and what I wanted it to become. And we worked together to create it.
So what would your biggest dream be with this show? Like what would you want to do from here?
I would love to hit 100 episodes. That is one of my biggest goals. And I just love getting to speak with so many amazingly talented and different inspirational people with so many inspiring stories. It's really become an amazing passion.
Oh my gosh. So what episode are you at now? What episode is this?
Now, this, I believe, is episode, I think, let me double check. It is episode 39.
Well, you're over a third there. You're almost
Yep.
there.
So my goal is to hit 50 by the end of this year because 100 would be a really main goal.
Oh, you'll definitely get it. I'm so excited for you. I'm already cheering for your goal.
And thank you so much for inspiring me and for being a part of it. It was an absolute honor.
Oh, thank you, Allison. Thank you so much for having me. And this was such a blast. So I'd love to come on again